Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob, name of Caliban.
And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon crystal power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is brought to you by Cryptic Forbidding Visions.
Oh, so what I see every morning when I wake up.
Right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the show. Thanks for sponsoring us. Visions of a dreadful future.
Yeah.
In the future, did you know that Sailor Moon anime fans will finally get to see Sailor Saturn's transformation scene?
I did. And some Sailor Moon fans who are in Japan have already seen it.
Right.
Because in the Sailor Moon Eternal movies, the second film, you actually get to see Sailor Saturn transform.
Yeah.
Something that has never been seen before.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, that's what I hear.
I will tell you. You read it. You told me. Spoiler for you, I guess. But yeah. She doesn't get, for whatever reason. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it, I suppose.
Well,
she just doesn't. She doesn't get one.
We'll it has been seen before in a video game. Sailor Moon Super S, Various Emotion, which is, I often feel various emotions when I play fighting games, but
I love it.
Not familiar with it, but it appeared on PlayStation and on Saturn. Someday we've talked about somehow trying to do a Sailor Moon video game show. Or,
see, the problem is like actually
series.
Getting them, because they're not like on any systems as far as I know it would
take some doing.
Yeah.
I don't have a Sega Saturn lying around anymore.
No.
But
one of my host families had some Sailor Moon video games, and they were playing them and showing them to me when I was in Japan in high school. I can't remember for the life of me which ones they were, but they looked cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They do exist.
And you were like, oh, great, yeah, video games.
Well, you know me, I'm terrible at video games. I thought it was neat, but
it's not something to be, you say that like it just defines you as a person.
I'm working on it.
Okay, all right.
I can play a couple of things that are maybe pretty easy for people to play. Recently started playing Okami again on the Switch. Tried playing it, I don't even know how many years ago, and did not go well. But this time we're going better.
If it's going good, I say keep doing it.
Yeah.
Although I would not have suggested that for any beginning player. I can't believe that's a kid's game. There is so much, first of all, there's so much story to absorb, because there is like 40 hours of story based in large part on Japanese mythology and Japanese history, because I believe it is set in the early, maybe the Kamakura period, but maybe the end of the Heian period.
Yeah.
First of all, and then it deals with not only Japanese history and folklore, but with Japanese religion, Japanese Buddhism, Zen Buddhism.
Yes.
And it's and then
because Kami is a Shinto god.
It's not even right. Yeah. And then it's not even just like jump up and down. Like,
oh no,
it's an open world game where you play a dog, but also then you have the ability to use the celestial brush, which is a completely different kind of, and it'd be perfect on the DS where you have a stylus, but you have to kind of, use the sticks and everything like that. Although, I've got it on Switch, and if you're using it handheld Switch, you can use your finger, but, so there's all that.
Sure.
And it's for children.
I have to say though, the brush thing, although it's like, they want you to do it a certain way to do certain things, it's pretty forgiving.
Oh yeah.
I have noticed that, because I'm like, draw a bridge over this water.
Yeah, right.
a bridge was made.
Oh, a bridge. Yeah, who knew that this bridge
that is like not a bridge, but okay, here we go.
And there are like 9 or 10 animals or whatever, and either one of them has a different technique or a power that you learn and use. Then there are the different moves that the dog gets as you level up. So it's, combos and kicks, and I can't even tell you what all the moves are.
I'm really early on still, so and I'll probably forgot everything I learned like in that hour of playing, so I'll probably have to relearn it.
And then after that, you can play Okiden, which is on the DS.
Okay.
Which is basically like a remake of the exact same game, only it's done a little different in the story, and it's going to drive you crazy. It's all in miniature. So, you know how like in Okami, there's Amaterasu the dog.
Yes.
And then there's the celestial artist who's like a flea or a cricket or whatever, which is some other part of Japanese folklore that I'm not familiar with. But he's full size, and he rides a tiny, the daughter of Amaterasu, Chibi Amaterasu, in the game.
What?
Yeah.
As long as I can see what I'm doing, as long as like they're not like fully miniature, and I'm like, what? My eyes are old. I can't. What is this?
No,
then I'm
I
okay.
mean it's not. No, it's all on a DS screen, so I guess it's small in that way. But
sure.
Otherwise, it looks like this. This is where you turn around.
That is freaking adorable.
Yeah. So anyway,
I want a stuffed animal of that like right now.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay.
Like this show.
Yes.
Which we should probably get right into.
We should.
So why don't you fire it off there?
Okay. So today we are talking about episode number 61. Usagi Daishoku, Mamoru no Zeko Sengen in Japanese. Usagi devastated. Mamoru declares a breakup, the English translation, and the English title, The Cosmetic Caper.
The Cosmetic Caper.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fine. Daishoku, does that mean devastated?
Yeah, and I should emphasize that I'm probably it should be Daishoku. Like
Daishoku.
Yeah. So yeah, more or less, I'm guessing. Dai is like big. And like I'm not sure if like cuz like shoku is like a shock, so I don't know if it's like a big shock or
shoku.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I start going down this road. I'm like, maybe it's this, but I don't really know. So maybe I should stop talking. Yeah. So why don't you give us a synopsis?
We got a lot to talk about, so we should probably get right into it this week.
Yes.
And we will, as we open with Usagi breathlessly running down the street. She's not late for school. She's actually searching for Pink Sagi, a.k.a. Chibiusa, who's gone missing.
Yes.
She runs into Mamoru, who's out for a jog in his awful mint-colored sweats. Do you think he jogs early in the morning so nobody will see his outfit?
I don't think anybody has told him how awful it is.
He's just like
he thinks he's killing it.
He's too handsome. Yeah, and so nobody say he lives in the bubble.
Yeah,
like John Hamm.
Yeah,
so
right, exactly.
He thinks he's pulling these things off. But
yeah, the sweats. Somebody. I'm surprised Ray never told him. No,
I feel like
Ray would have.
Ray was getting ready to.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a fourth date thing. Usagi immediately throws herself into his arms and says that she is lucky to have run into him. He leans in for a kiss, but no time for that, cries Luna with another terrifying disembodied head transition. They have to find Usa. Mamoru and Usagi find Usa alone on a playground, on a swing, looking despondent. She clutches her key necklace and says, Mama, Papa.
Yep.
Monday.
The mamas and the papas.
Usagi takes a conciliatory tone and says, everybody's worried about where you are. But Chibiusa says, leave me alone. Mamoru says, hey girl, let me take you home. And Usa is on board for that. He reaches out to take Chibi's hand, and he has another one of those flashes. He sees a crystal city and a crystal spire that seems to encase a hill with lights on it. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that these flashes will continue and will progress just slowly enough to deliver a reveal in 12 episodes or so. That's my prediction. Usagi asks him what's wrong, but he says, I'm fine. But Luna's not so sure. And the three of them walk home, or I guess the five, counting Luna and Luna P, whatever that is. Usagi switches from a conciliatory tone to an antagonistic one and yells at Chibiusa for riding on Mamoru's back all the way home.
I know.
But Chibiusa gives her a bleh and says, "Stop calling me Chibiusa. My name's Usagi." Usagi says, "Nuh-uh, my name's Usagi, and Mamoru is my boyfriend." No, says Chibi, Mamo is my boyfriend. Big Usagi says, "Whoa, I don't think so. Mamo and I share a deep bond of love." She does this weird thing where she stops talking and she puts her head down. And then she's just like, I think it's a deep bond.
I think she didn't know, like maybe she was like gonna say, "Oh, past lives, love story," and then she like thought she like caught herself, but then she was like, "We literally just started dating. What do I call this?" That's how I'm interpreting it, but maybe I'm putting
a lot
more
to communicate
into it.
From the top of your head to the audience. I thought maybe she was just like, getting a running start at it. She was just like building up to like, this is
super dramatic.
I love you this much.
Well,
but you're right. There are a lot of factors at play here in this relationship. Factors which we will continue to discuss as we go on. Well, anyway, everybody is a little weirded out, especially when she concludes by saying, "Try to seduce him all you want, but he's mine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's an exciting time. It's easy to get confused. Mamoru, who is taking all of this in, he says, Chibiusa is just a kid and she's lonely. And Chibiusa says, "Hey, even you're calling me Chibiusa now." Mamoru says, "Oh yeah, I just think it sounds pretty cute." And she says, "Well, if you like it, okay."
Yeah, pretty much.
Usagi is just over this entire conversation saying, "Why don't you just get married then?"
It's like, it's frustrating.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will.
I got a lot of things
okay
to say. But at the Tsukino household, the whole family is relieved to have Chibiusa back. Usagi's dad asks, "Hey, Usagi, who's the guy in the ugly sweats? I don't think we've met before." And Usagi says, "This is my friend, Mamoru Chiba." You failed the test there, Usagi.
Yeah, well.
Usagi's mom says, "Thanks for helping Usagi all the time." And Shingo says, "Wow, he's too good looking to be stupid Usagi's boyfriend."
Uh-huh.
And maybe this is why Usagi said friend, because Mr. Tsukino is like, "Boyfriend? Is this true?" Mamoru says, "I'm going to finish my jog later," and he runs off. Mr. Tsukino yells, "Wait, come back here." Usagi's mom tells her, "He's pretty cute. Bring him back sometime when your father's at work." Dad is distraught, saying, "Mother, my daughter's a delinquent. Usagi, I trusted you."
I know.
And Shingo's like, "You made Dad cry, stupid Usagi." Don't be stupid. At this point, Chibiusa asks for everyone's attention. She says, I'm getting a little hungry. I am a little child." But the family's like, "Who's this?" And Dad says, "Do we have any relatives like her?" And Mom and Shingo don't recognize her.
Uh-huh.
Chibi calls for Luna P transformation, and Luna P becomes an umbrella with a swirl pattern on it, like the penguin on Batman.
Yep.
And Chibi uses it to begin to hypnotize the family, including Usagi. Luna realizes that it's hypnosis, and she bites Usagi on the arm, causing her immense pain, but snapping her out of it. Once Chibi's finished, the whole family is like, "Oh yeah, Chibiusa!
Yes.
Our cousin that is staying with us, our collective cousin." Usagi is like, "Oh, you've gone too far." But the family won't hear her criticism. Chibi gives Usagi the biggest bleh I can think of. And she's just, Usagi screams in frustration. Shingo does notice, however, that the Luna P toy looks just like Luna's head, crescent moon and all.
Uh-huh.
This is why we need that kitty mask.
I know.
Kitty mask for the feline superhero.
But like Luna's like, "What? I don't," she's like upset and like offended.
Yeah, but it comes at the perfect time because, unless you see it flying around like it often is.
Yes.
You can just say, "Oh, this is from the Sailor Moon show. Have you seen it? It's really great."
Right.
I mean, they got attacked the other day, but it's fine. They promised no more attacks. We cut to the Rainbow Room, where Rubeus stares at a 3D hologram of, presumably, Crystal Tokyo. Stripper Elsa enters from one of the mirrors and asks why he called for her. He says, "Berthier, look at this." and now we can let the stripper Elsa bit go. Berthier says, oh, it's Crystal Tokyo. It's the city that we hate. And Rubeus says, we have to destroy it as soon as possible. To do that, we have to destroy the silver crystal and kill the rabbit. But since we can't find them, instead, we can attack the crystal points, which will become the crystal barriers protecting the city. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, right, exactly.
We see on the hologram that there's a pentagram or a star shape to the city.
Yes.
And at each point of the star is a crystal point. We cut to one of those points in modern-day Tokyo, and it's Otafukuya, a cosmetics store. Rubeus tells her to replace the energy of this place with dark power, and in the future, they will possess that place, eventually delivering Crystal Tokyo into their hands. And we get this sequence where we kind of zoom. Maybe it's he's seeing this or remembering this, but we kind of like zoom. We zoom into the crystal tower that we've seen in this vision of Mamoru that has had as well.
Yeah,
and within we see a figure that looks like Princess Serenity, and we pull out of that to see Mamoru on the street, and we understand he's had this vision as well.
Yes.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's on the street, he's on his way to school, presumably. He drops his books as he's having this vision. He seems to understand that unless he... something, Usagi will... yada yada. He senses some kind of threat here.
Yep.
But it's not, he doesn't tell us what it is.
What it is ain't exactly clear.
Speaking of Usagi, that's Buffalo Springfield, not Mama and the Papas. Speaking of Usagi, she's also on her way to school. She's contemplating the 32 she got on her last math test out of probably a lot more than 32.
I'm guessing it's out of 100.
Yeah. She sees Mamoru, she balls up the test, and she shoves it in her pocket, and she throws herself into his arms. But he pushes her away. He tells her he doesn't love her anymore and that they should break up. And she's like, you're going to what now? What? Huh? And he says, we're finished. And she's like, out of body experience.
Yeah, I know.
I catch music.
That's a good point. Now that Usagi has had her heart crushed, we're going to hear something really upbeat.
When we come back from the upbeat music, we cut to Hikawa Shrine, and all the girls are hearing the news of the breakup. They may argue, but the squad pulls up. One of their own needs help. Minako says, well, he's probably in a bad mood. That's where this is coming from. Mako reminds her that they are literally star-crossed lovers, destined to be in love forever. Ami says he may have done it for both of their own benefit, because having time to study is important. And I'll shut up now. This is a bad idea. Rei tells her, don't worry, Mamoru is not that type of guy. Across town, at Mamoru's pad, he's entertaining Chibiusa, who's coloring in a book, which it's a little weird, but again, we're going to talk about this. It's all going to make sense.
Okay.
I don't know why this child is at this man's house, though. The doorbell rings, and it's Usagi. She comes in, and immediately the situation is tense. He asks her why she's there, and she apologizes for this afternoon. She carries on, saying that she didn't know that he was in a bad mood, but he cuts her off, saying, it's not that. I just don't love you anymore. She says, I'll study hard, too. He says, don't make me say it over and over. I just want to end our relationship. She says, I just can't believe that, because I was Princess Serenity, and you were Prince Endymion, and we were lovers before we were ever born. And the whole time this is going on, there's this vase full of roses in the entryway, and as they talk, the petals fall slowly from the roses one by one.
I know.
Mamoru says, that's why I want to end it. Why must I be your boyfriend because I was in a previous life? And he turns to Usagi, and she has a face that expresses like 1,000 emotions at once. Oh my
gosh, I know.
Confusion, embarrassment, sadness, longing, and love. She sees Chibiusa's shoes in the entryway and says, maybe you like Chibiusa better than me. But he tells her not to be ridiculous. She tells him that she's sorry for making him hang out with her all those times. And she can barely finish the sentence before she breaks down.
I know.
When he turns to her, she's already closing the door. And as a somber piano piece plays, we see her walk the streets of town. She goes into a phone booth and collapses in tears, saying, I'm sorry, Mama. I can't bring Mama home anymore.
No.
And as we zoom out, we all continue to cry. Life, or possibly death, goes on as we see the outside of the Otafukuya, I've got close.
Yeah, you got
cosmetic shop, and we hear screams inside. And we see bright light coming through this. It's got a security shutter, like one of those roll doors.
Yes.
And we see light come through the very thin spaces, which means it's a very bright light, which is a nice touch. Something bad's going on in there. Mm-hmm. The door rolls up and out steps Berthier in a yellow dress and carrying a lilac parasol. Mm-hmm. She calls for Droid atsugeshou. Right?
I
usually get an atsugeshou, a couple extra shots.
I think, I'm pretty sure that's how you
I'm gonna call her Atsu.
Okay, let's call her Atsu.
And she's a green-haired woman with an emerald-cut ruby in her forehead. Mm-hmm. Berthier says, "Please sell my cosmetics at this newly renovated store. They will make you beautiful. But in a few years, they'll give you acne and turn your hair gray, and you'll be a real uggo. They're called Happy Clown Cosmetics."
I love it.
"This will take care of the crystal point and will control this place's energy in the future."
Yes.
And the droid says, "You got it." And she gets to work. On the roof of a building, we see Berthier holding a stack of flyers for her new store. She's admiring them and wondering, okay, I got to get these out to the people. But a huge gust of wind comes and blows the flyers and her dress up, and they fly out over the town. So, result, I guess. One lands near Usagi's glass case of emotion.
Yeah, I know.
And at her lowest point, she takes the flyer, runs off to the store, passing by Luna on the way, who she probably doesn't see because Luna is behind a sign for Cafe Elk. Gotta try that out later.
What is that?
In the store, Atsu is in human guise as the attendant, and she says, "What can I get for you?" Usagi is unsure, but Atsu says, "Oh, your face is marred by tears. Try our face wash and our skin cream, plus our blush and lipstick." But Usagi interrupts and says, "If I make myself prettier, will Mamo say that he loves me?" Mm-hmm. Natsu goes right back into her hard sell. She tells her that to get a man to love her, she'll have to wear at least some heavy makeup. Mm-hmm. Usagi realizes that just changing her look won't make Mamo love her again, either sparing us or robbing us of a makeover montage. No?
I understand what you're saying. I mean, makeover montages are fun.
She comes out, it's like too much eyeshadow. Like, no. It comes back out. Huge lips.
Nah.
No. It comes back out. Just her regular face. Be like, thumbs up.
Yeah, right.
Perfect. We don't get that, but that's probably okay. Atsu says, "Nah, this will definitely get your dude back. I swear. I mean, all men are the same." Up. You blew the sale. Yeah. Usagi says, "You're wrong. He's not like that. You don't know anything about him. What kind of idiot are you?" Yeah. Shocking the other customers. Lots of fun looks in the episode amongst the other customers, too. It's like a bunch of young girls, maybe a little older than Usagi. And they've all got styles. None of these girls need to be in here.
No.
But that's the point, isn't it?
Yes.
We'll get to it. Atsu is going to get this sale. She grabs Usagi by the arm and says, "You can't say all that and just walk away. Shut up. You're going to put some of my makeup on." The other customers all leave as Usagi continues to struggle, and Atsu says, "You scared my customers away." But Usagi's like, "You're assaulting me with makeup." Atsu says, "I have no choice," and she produces a powder puff and just on the face.
I know.
Her droid form is revealed. "I'm gonna put makeup on you," she screams, but Luna bounces into her face, knocking her back and into the shelves of makeup and powder behind her, creating clouds of cosmetics in the air. Luna says, "Quick, transform!" And we get some Moon Prism Power makeup. Uh-huh. As Usagi becomes Sailor Moon, she declares, "Forcing your cosmetics on girls who just want boys to like them. It's just not acceptable. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you." Atsu says, "Whoever you are, if you know about our plan to destroy the future city, you must die." And Luna's right there. She's like, "Plan to destroy the future city?" And I was like, "Damn it,
write
not
this
again."
down. I know.
"Put on heavy makeup." And she's got what looks like, this whole time she's been wearing what looks like a fez type hat. Uh-huh. And it's got like a red braid coming out of it. Mm-hmm. But you realize it's the top of a perfume bottle.
Yep.
And the braid is attached to a bulb.
Yep.
So the hat's like the atomizer.
Yep.
Her jaw, it comes out of her mouth. Her jaw opens up and she sprays acid perfume at Usagi, who dodges and it melts the display next to her. Usagi runs and Atsu pursues. She's pumping her own bulb as she goes, spraying acid everywhere. Usagi slips and falls. It looks bad, but Luna again leaps at Atsu. This time, however, she crushes Luna against the wall with a giant powder puff.
I know.
And Luna is made up. Just all white.
Just a flat cat against the wall.
Yep. Atsu stalks towards Usagi, saying, "You will put on heavy makeup." But a red rose sinks into the tile of the cosmetics store. Tuxedo Mask has arrived. Mm-hmm. Thank God every building in town has a second-story window. He says, "Young girls have beautiful skin. Makeup is not necessary." What about young men, though?
Oh, my goodness.
Let me introduce you to War Paint, the makeup for men.
I know.
You know somebody threw makeup into the room, right?
Probably.
Like, War Paint? War Paint. Yeah. Atsu says, "Ha! You must wear heavy makeup," and vomits a blast of perfume at TM. But he spins his cane and deflects the blast back into Atsu's face, melting it off.
I know.
A voice yells, "Yes! Yes, it has to be like this! And I think it's my voice!" Tuxedo Mask tells Sailor Moon, "Now!" And she gets ready to hit her with a Moon Princess halation. As she's getting ready, though, Atsu has her compact out.
Yes.
And she's trying to hastily draw her face back on, literally.
So much.
And she ends up looking like, "Am I pretty now, Daddy?"
I know.
And it's hilarious because she's just a robot who tried to melt a teenage girl, so we can laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
She gets hit and crumbles to dust, or maybe like ground glass or ground crystal, because it's like it's bluish. Mm-hmm. But anyway, her ruby falls to the ground and goes dark.
Yes.
It's an emerald cut.
Yes.
I don't know why I know that. Tuxedo Mask says goodbye and brusquely turns away, but Usagi asks him, "You were lying when you said you didn't like me anymore, right?" But he says, "Me helping you has nothing to do with our relationship. We're superheroes." Mm-hmm. He says, "I don't like weak girls. Goodbye." Yeah. And as he walks away, he says to himself, "I'm sorry, Usako."
Yeah.
Luna comes running in and says, "I found the store clerks unconscious in the basement." Oh, good.
I know.
I mean, that was an open question, I guess. But Usagi thinks to herself, "I understand, Mamo. I'll become stronger, and I'll win your heart back."
Yeah. I know.
And we go out to the strains of Maiden's Policy, which, count the episodes, it has grown. It is full grown.
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite ending theme now.
I actually really like it.
When we get through the, pardon my French, BS of the Makai Tree arc, which now that I know thematically does not matter at all in this season, Maiden's Policy and the lyrics of Maiden's Policy make so much more sense. You understand so much more. Yes, needing to get Mamoru back, but also just her, 14 going on 15 and starting to understand her responsibilities and knowing that she has to grow up. Yeah. Having a child does that too. So I have a lot of things I want to say, and I don't want it to take up a lot of time because I want to get to Kiro Kiro Miru.
But I've got things I want to say too.
Okay, so let me just blow some things by you.
Yeah, go for it.
So I just want to say, like, I really don't know what's coming up next week.
Okay.
I never know what's coming up in any future episode, other than I guess now I know we don't see Sailor Saturn transform. But spoilers. I really don't know. But there's a phenomenon on this show where I snap and I say that I really need something to happen, or why hasn't something happened, or boy, I really wish they'd address an issue, and the show immediately responds. And it isn't because I know it's coming, and they don't know who I am, so they didn't do it for me.
This show was made over 25 years ago
But what I think, just last week, I'm like, what is this show doing? It's such a confusing idea, and the fact that the bad guys are girls, and they're literally the components of makeup, and like what is this? And I know that there's obviously Sailor Moon makeup kits that they sell. There's merchandising that goes with the show, but can the show maintain its purity, the purity of its intent, what it's trying to say to young girls as it goes forward? And the next GD show, she literally fights and destroys makeup. A makeup lady.
Yeah, she literally does.
It's like it's taking requests from the audience.
Yeah, I think you have a point. Although I was thinking more about what you were suggesting, that like maybe like not necessarily subliminally, but like, or maybe subconsciously, like because they say makeup when they transform and they have makeup on their face and stuff like that, you know, maybe it's kind of saying like,
well, it's just magic. It isn't like, you know,
I know.
I don't know if the live action show is more cynical, but they actually like put like lipstick and nail polish on like when they're transforming and stuff. And that's designed more because it's a real world thing to market a tiara set, a nail polish set or something like that.
I think there's a little bit of that in this if you pay attention.
But don't dilute my message here.
I know.
My message is that I'm not psychic, but the show is, I think all I'm doing is I'm paying attention and I'm tapped into the main vein of what they're trying to accomplish.
I think so.
And so they know the next thing that they have to do is to start, even as Usagi is moving into womanhood, is start to attack these assumptions, you know, and these obligations of womanhood. And they're doing that exactly. Because I thought they should do that. And they're like, we know, we were doing it. Then they immediately start doing it, you know. And it isn't, sure, there's filler in anime. You know, we were talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And I know there is some filler in Sailor Moon. So when I get frustrated, maybe it's because we're just getting through the filler, what little of it there is before we have to get right into it.
I think that's a lot of it.
But the show has really been getting right into it recently. Even with the Makai Tree arc, which is an abbreviated arc, there's a point where it's like, all right, there's a next level that we got to get to here.
Yeah.
And then boom, they're into the next level. So I'm just here to say, kudos show. You know, if I never doubted you, you would never be able to prove me wrong so many times.
Okay. All right. I like it. I really like that Usagi just kind of rejects the idea that boys will like you more if you change how you look. You know, she kind of rejects that idea and also states within the same breath that like Mamo-chan is not like that and like gets like really upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's the sum of more than her emotional parts, I think, because she's our protagonist and she's our heroine. And I think that she has a moment of insecurity.
She does.
In this episode.
Yeah.
Mostly because of what I want to talk about in a second, which is how over her head she is. And so she's just literally, you know, the universe gives her, makeup. That's how them boys will love you. And so she goes there, but she's immediately like, she isn't like, oh, what kind of blush should I get? She's like, crumpled, you know, flyer in her fist. Will this help me? Will this help me get him back?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, she'll continue to experience insecurity, I'm sure, as the episode goes, but they're just trying to knock down this point in this children's show.
Right.
That's 20 minutes long.
Right.
You know, it's not like we have to go through a whole arc where she tries out a whole new look or something, like she comes back, oh, she's got bangs. She's already got bangs. So, we don't need to belabor that. I was a little confused, or not confused. I had a lot of questions about, like, once they kind of broke up, would he still show up to save her? And he does.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also kind of wondered, this last episode too, you know, if they have now that they're dating, do they have like a, you know, no 8ing day talk on the objet? You know, is their relationship as Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon
any different?
But I don't think that Usagi thinks of herself as Sailor Moon when she's Sailor Moon.
I think you have a point.
Yeah, I think that she
doesn't really keep them separate
herself,
like he does. I think.
Yeah, and so we kind of run into that a little bit here. So, all right, let's have a depressing talk about dating a 20-year-old when you're a 14-year-old. This is once again. I know there's a lot of magic in this show, and it's also fiction, so maybe good things are possible. But this is why it doesn't happen. This is why you don't do it, right?
Well,
her interactions with him are all centered on her experience of him. Do you know what I mean? So not selfishly, but centered on herself.
I understand what you're saying.
And so it's like, it's fine to be guileless. It's fine to be genuine and expressive in your emotion. But like when she sees him, she's just like, it's my boyfriend. It's my boyfriend. And she immediately, buries her face in his stomach because there's a significant height difference between them.
Yeah.
And you just have to think, I mean, he's like, the show doesn't explore his emotions or reaction to it.
No.
But you have to imagine a real life person of his age would be like, oh, great.
I know. And
you know what I mean?
This is another thing that I like, because like in the manga, he's a little bit younger and he's still in high school.
Sure.
So...
And we can kind of just see him sort of like that in the show, I guess. But, well, we know that his friend was dating a professor. So we know that he's in college.
She wasn't a professor. She was another student.
Or she's a grad student.
She just had a lab coat on. Yeah.
But yeah. I always wear a lab coat.
I always run around
third
like
period
Tokyo,
class.
like wearing a lab coat. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and it comes out in those things like in the hug or how she talks about them, the remedies that she thinks will work. It isn't about. I'm angry because you didn't clean your room. You know what I mean? Like whether or not we can study or whether or not I was in a bad mood, I've made this decision because of emotions. So there is no fix, which leads into the makeup thing, of course. And also just like the way that she experiences the grief, and her saying that she can't, sorry, Mom, I can't bring him home.
I know.
That's just that's not the point, it's practical, but it's not what's happening here. That's not the point.
Well, what do you think the point is?
The point is that relationships are a lot more complicated than whether or not.
Yeah, but this is her first relationship. So
that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
she is incredibly immature and inexperienced.
Yes, absolutely.
And it'd be one thing if it was, what's his name? The psychic kid and me just sort of bumping heads.
Oh gosh. What is his name?
It starts with an F.
No, it's like Ryo, right?
Give me an R.
Ryo?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But this feels, different. Mamoru feels more sophisticated than that. And so I wonder if they are unequally yoked in this way.
I see your point. Maybe it's difficult for me because I get really frustrated with the anime because they have literally one date and then they're broken up. And it's just I won't go into details if you don't want me to, but it's incredibly different in the manga.
I haven't even brought that up because, I talked about that last week as well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, what are they going to go on a couple dates and then maybe go, oh boy, I hope the monsters don't break us up or something.
It's just this
Why
entire...
save it? You need a runner, you need a motivation, you need attention.
It's just so different. It's so different because...
Yeah, you get them to a new point, then you immediately demote them again so you can have tension throughout the series. It makes total sense. I hate it.
I hate it too because it's just so cruel to these characters.
Good move. It's cruel to me.
It's cruel to me too.
I like to rate the real villain of this piece. Mamoru Chiba. I'm going to give him 5 piles of dog crap.
Well, it's so frustrating because it's like, we don't even know, like, does he see more than what the audience sees?
He does. We have seen that we haven't seen it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what does he see?
I don't know. And his inexperience, or at least his overly macho
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Sense of responsibility.
Like people ask him what's wrong and he's like, oh, nothing.
Or his white knightiness, means that he is not going to communicate.
He's not going to share what's going on. He's going to go,
I can fix this by just being, the long-suffering prick that I see myself as.
Right.
And, she'll get over it, but I don't realize like the depth of her ability to care. And luckily she's our girl, so it's not going to drive her she's not going to like become evil Usagi or something like that. And like, that's a big arc speaking of the live action thing, that's a big arc in the live action thing, isn't it? Because part of why she becomes Dark Mercury is like frustration with the other girls, like don't take her seriously, right? Or she feels it's that whole like, oh, the quiet girl has all these passions that she's suppressing. And so
from my understanding, it might be that, but like I think that because it's the Dark Kingdom are the bad guys in that, and I don't know how they do some sort of calculation or something, or they determine that they can get to her easiest and turn her somehow.
They have their own dark computer.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of what I.
But the difference is that we've joked in the past about how our girl doesn't have a long memory or a lot of focus. because she gets hungry. But it isn't just that. It is the heroic quality of keeping, an open mind and a positive spirit. And she's going to turn this thing around because she could just go, throw the tiara in the trash can, Sailor Moon no more. But she's not doing that. No. She's saying, even though it's still kind of immature and diluted, that she's going to work real hard and he'll like her again. Again, that's not how things work.
No.
If Mamoru is being serious, he's not. He wants to be with her.
We know he's not.
So they both want to be with each other. But they're both like, we can't be with each other. It's like the gift of the Magi.
I know, because he's all like, I'm sorry, Usako. Yeah. And he calls her Usako in his head. It's not even Usagi. Yeah. So
it's just like, if they would just be honest with each other, we could just get through this.
But that's infuriating.
Called melodrama. And that's
fine. I know, I get it. And I think that, like you said, one reason why it is in here is because we have to... The manga is so much shorter, and we have to make it. We have to add drama, and we have to make it.
Yeah, so you're gonna suffer now.
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk real quick about something that is really weird.
Yeah,
it's not a reference; it's a trope. Mm-hmm. You should know. It's just a weird positioning of a trope, but I like in quotes that they position Chibiusa as the other woman.
Yeah,
it's weird. And it would only work once more, and I feel like I'm like bagging on or looking down on Usagi, but it would only work in the mind of a girl who does not understand relationships and also just can't read that there's clearly something else going on with Mamoru. When she goes and talks to him, she uses the 3 things that her friends tell her. She doesn't really like say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Or I know you. I've known you for thousands of years. I know something's going on.
Right.
She just doesn't, she's not putting those skills to work.
No.
And so it's like, it's better that she sees the shoes. It's a clever bit of business that she sees the shoes and realizes they're there. But it'd be great if like Chibiusa like came out in a cute apron and she's like, I got some cookies. I'm just making fire up an easy bake oven. And it's like this trope of, like she's now on the outside. I never felt more estranged from Usagi than when he opened that door and let her in. And it was just it's like she wasn't the star of the show anymore.
My heart was just like on pause when he opened the door, and it's painful.
Yeah.
Usagi's
here. Let me slip into something a little less comfortable.
Chibiusa being the other woman, that is in the manga as well. That is not an invention of the anime. Awesome. So you can thank Nako Takeuchi for that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So Caliban, you finally show your face. Just in time for me to blow it off.
It's fitting you chose to hide in this abandoned movie theater, Mika and Hana, because for you, the show's over.
Big talk, but soon you'll be as dead as all the well-loved celebrities we lost this year.
When I'm done, they'll be cleaning you off the walls like COVID-19.
Wait, where's your face mask?
I thought we were going to fight outside.
Oh, come on!
I mean, if the murder hornets aren't out there still.
Take this.
You want to watch HBO Max on my phone?
I'll start cooking some beans in this old boot. Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and apocalyptic views every Monday on the Just Enough Trope Network.
Won't the 5G kill us? Shh.
For Kyoru Kyoru Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. Today we are going to talk about the history of cosmetics and the standards of beauty in Japan. Cosmetics, or keshōhin in Japanese, has existed since the Kofun period, which is 300 to 710. In order to really look at the history of cosmetics in Japan, we also need to have somewhat of an understanding of standards of beauty in Japan as well. And utsukushisa is beauty in Japanese.
Utsukushisa?
Utsukushisa, yeah. So, going off of writings in the ancient chronicles of Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, as well as trace amounts of color on the clay Haniwa figures, we can deduce that the Kofun period of 300 to 710, there was a practice of painting the face with red hues. This early practice of utilizing cosmetics developed into more sophisticated methods towards the latter part of the 6th century, when rouge, powder, and other forms of cosmetics were imported to Japan, along with other aspects of culture from China and the Korean peninsula. And as we know, we've talked about before, lots of things came over from China, but things came over from Korea as well.
I should test those terracotta figures and see if they wore man paint. War paint, damn.
War paint! Man paint can work too.
Man paint.
Man paint.
This ain't your lady's paint.
Are you man enough to wear this paint?
Paint a boudoir or a toilet with this. No. This is only for man caves and ATV shelters.
Yeah, right, exactly. I was like, what else is manly?
Man paint.
During the Hakuho period, which was 646 to 710, the initial form of white face powder was created out of rice flour and white soil. The production of this was imported from China. This powder was restricted to the upper class until the Edo period, which was 1600 to 1868, where it was utilized by the general public as well. And you will find this is kind of a trend, like styles and trends in cosmetics. I think like with many cultures, it starts with the aristocratic people, and then it gets filtered down to the general public.
They didn't have access to lead, I guess, so no aristocratic ladies were poisoning themselves like in Europe. I'm
getting to it.
Oh, whoops. In the meantime, they're putting dirt on their face?
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand. You're simply a lower class person than I am.
Yeah, it's...
Thanks for that dirt. Okay. Pat, pat, pat.
Yeah, rice flour and white soil.
I'm going to rub my lunch and my dirt on my face. And that's why I'm the aristocracy.
I know, right? You sit and think about it. In 692, a Buddhist priest, Kanjo, was given credit to be the initial creator of lead-based face powder in Japan, and he thrilled Empress Jito by presenting his new creation to her.
Huh.
So, there you go.
Ironic. In some way, probably.
Probably.
A Buddhist priest?
Yes.
Who should be focused not on the physical and on the spiritual and nirvana anyway, creates something to satisfy somebody's vanity, gives it to the queen, the richest person in the world, and she slowly poisons herself with it. There's a metaphor in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm just too dumb to figure it out. I've got dirt on my face.
Oh my god, I know. It's a good point. Early Japanese cosmetics consisted of 3 main hues: red for primarily lip rouge, white face powder, and black tooth blackener. In the Nara period of 710 to 793, lips and eyelids were colored a red hue, and red beauty spots were placed on the outer corners of the eyes and lips, as well as in between the eyebrows.
Huh.
Coloring of rouge was made mostly from safflowers and put on the cheeks, lips, and fingernails. So it was kind of like nail polish. A moderate use was considered to be refined and ideal. In the late Edo period, however, there was a trend for a thicker application of lipstick for a shimmering effect. Perhaps due to this fad, coloring from safflowers became so costly, it was said to be worth its weight in gold. So, expensive stuff, cosmetics. So, hikimayu, which we talked about in episode 51, is the practice of shaving off one's eyebrows and painting on new ones, slightly higher on the forehead, and utilizing a powdered black ink called haizumi to make the new eyebrows. And
that's how I remember it.
Haizumi?
It's like raising a spoiler on a car, just like a couple clicks up there, you get more downdraft, so you can go fast. Haizumi.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I just like that their idea is like, the body is many wonderful things. But boy, somebody made a mistake here. He's got to be up here. I want eyebrows that are a hairline.
I know. So this started.
She's hot, but she's like surprised all the time. She's just got to, don't spook her. Why did they do that?
Well, we talked about it before, but it's most likely was initially done by aristocratic women, and so because they
I
were
want a
putting
forehead
on,
I can land a glider on.
No, it's because they put on this thick white face powder, this oshiroi, and because it made the application of that easier.
So wait. So these people had the same problem that Cesar Romero did when he played the Joker on second reference to the 1960s Batman TV show, where he just like, oh, I don't want to shave my mustache, or oh, I just got a white painted mustache. And they're like, we don't want to go the Cesar Romero route.
Right.
We're just going to get rid of these eyebrows altogether.
Yeah. But we look weird now, so we're going to paint other eyebrows up higher.
Just don't paint the hair of your eyebrows.
But they didn't like how that looked.
They wanted
aesthetically.
a calm, serene lake of a white face, like a field of snow.
Yes.
Well, if you hate eyebrows so much, I got an electrolysis guy to talk to. That's okay. Beauty standards are weird.
They are.
They're weird.
They are. They are weird. And they're
I'd apologize,
the whole
but
world
I have to
over.
have washboard abs and huge biceps now because it's made its way towards men. So I'm not apologizing for anything. Now I feel it.
Everybody feels it.
And I'm wearing war paint.
Right, I know. So the practice of ohaguro, which is teeth blackening, existed in one form or another for hundreds of years in Japan and was seen in Japan as beautiful until the end of the Meiji period. Objects that were pitch black, such as lacquer, which is usually like like dark pitch black with glaze, wood, were seen as beautiful. And it's also kind of like this idea of this pitch black also kind of is supposed to echo, most women's pitch black hair too. So,
but you don't want hair in your mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I understand one part of it. One part of it is that it also, you're lacquering your teeth, basically. You're sealing them in.
That
so
is a
it
big
could
part of
prevent
it.
Tooth decay.
Yes.
And so rich people would have it done for that reason. Mm-hmm. So if rich people have it done, it doesn't matter if it looks cool or not. You want to do it because it makes you feel like you're a rich person. Mm-hmm. But I'm just wondering, like, where somebody initially must have gone, oh, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. That, or they just were really having like a dental decay problems, and so they just started doing that, and they were like, we're just gonna have to tell ourselves it looks good, because I just can't imagine. There's not that cultures value different things, but there's like a couple general things. We generally like health. It's like an evolutionary thing.
Yes.
So the reason that we like nice teeth is because that person was not going to get an abscess and die at 16,
right?
Because no antibiotics,
right?
But it's just so weird that they no black. Do black. Like she just ate a great popsicle. That's what I want.
I know.
Just talking about it. Like it's just so weird.
It seems weird, but it was, I want to emphasize that it was considered beautiful at the time.
Okay, no. I respect their ancient dead culture, but I'm just saying it's odd.
Yeah, but
run that in a magazine.
I know.
A magazine ad.
I know.
Orbit gum. Ding. It's just like a gong. Not for Asian reasons. Just because it's the opposite of a ding when they smile.
Yeah, okay.
All right, maybe cut the gong.
Okay.
It's just a foghorn goes off.
Yeah, I like that.
You lit liquor? Remember that commercial?
No.
It's Orbit, the gum cleans your mouth or whatever.
Yes.
And so here's a scene, they run these little scenes. And so a guy is cheating on his wife with his secretary, but the wife runs in with all of his stuff when he's like kissing the girl. And they're all saying these words, but it's like not actual swear words because it's cleaning their mouth up. So she's like, you frog swoggler. And he's like, what the French, toast? And it's just like stuff like that.
I don't remember that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Just Google lint liquor. You'll probably be okay.
I'm a little concerned. Maybe I'll let you
call
know.
That a Russian roulette Google.
Yeah, I think that is.
Try that out. Sorry,
okay.
Continue. Go ahead.
Ohaguro dates back to at least the Heian period, as there are references to it in the Tale of Genji and Tsutsumi Tsunagon Monogatari, a collection of short stories first published in the post-late Heian period. Ohaguro initially marked the coming of age in Japan for aristocratic men and women, and was done at the coming of age ceremony, which was generally referred to as genpuku for men and mogi for women. This ceremony marked the time when one would take on adult responsibilities. Most participants were aristocratic and ranged from ages 10 to 20.
Okay.
The ceremony was marked by major changes in clothing and hairstyle as well. So for, especially for boys, I've read this is when they would get, their, fitted for hakama for the first time.
Huh. Come on.
Yeah. So the pleated pants. To blacken their teeth, the main ingredient utilized was kanemixu, a dark brown solution of ferric acetate, which is created by dissolving iron fillings in vinegar.
What?
Yep. And when this was combined with vegetable tannins from such origins as tea powder or gallnut powder, it would turn black and become non-water soluble. Coating the teeth with this substance assisted to, as you said, prevent teeth decay and enamel decay. And this substance had to be put on once a day or once every couple of days.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
They have all these like natural kind of beautiful things. It's part of their aesthetic, using the bamboo, the reed, the brush, ferric oxide.
I know.
Just come on over here.
I know.
It's like in that horrible show that we saw, The Luminaries.
Yes.
Where they dissolve, they use mercury to, in gold mining, you can dissolve gold in mercury.
Oh, is that what they used? Okay.
And then you can put another thing in it and then poof, and all the mercury goes away. Don't breathe it in, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they dissolve the iron
fillings
in vinegar.
Yeah.
And then, oh man.
And then they added vegetable tannins.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just squeeze out some celery over that bad boy.
Yeah, right?
You're good to go.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Add a sprig of lime for a garnish.
Well, apparently it smelled awful, too.
Sure, of course.
So, which doesn't really surprise me, because you add vinegar to, iron doesn't smell great. And then you add vinegar to it, which has a very strong smell. And I don't even want to know what the vegetable tannins smell like. So
and just a touch of durian.
Yeah,
and
right.
You're good to go.
So anyways, I'm not. It was beautiful. I'm moving on. By the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, ohaguro and hikimayu were primarily done by married women. Although there were exceptions to at least ohaguro, the teeth blackening, women who were at least 18 years of age sometimes blackened their teeth anyways. Geisha and prostitutes also blackened their teeth. Ohaguro was typically done right before or right after the wedding and was continued to be applied throughout the marriage. Hikimayu was typically done after the birth of one's first child.
Huh.
So they kind of, during the Edo period, began to symbolize these events in women's lives.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure if, the blackening of the teeth was kind of like a significant, I'm a married woman, I'm taken, or you know what I mean?
Right. That's like looking for a ring. These days.
Right.
Oh, she's pretty hot. Oh, she's smiling at me. Oh, no, black teeth. Move on.
I know. Due to the adoption of Western ideas, including ones of beauty during the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, hikimayu and ohaguro were no longer considered appropriate for modern Japanese society. And in 1870, both practices were banned by the government.
Oh.
Yep.
Fun's over.
I know.
Turn over your ferric oxide.
I know. And apparently Empress Meiji stopped practicing ohaguro in 1873, and other women in Japan gradually followed her example.
It's the first time
3 years after it was banned.
It's the first time they'd seen royal teeth unadorned in the history of their civilization.
Yeah, probably. During the Edo period, the chief beauty ideal among women became the process of applying face powder, or oshiroi, which had the lead in it still.
Right.
Oshiroi was dissolved in water and put on with hands or a broad flat brush. Around 1877, due to worries of lead poisoning, they began to develop a lead-free face powder. The first lead-free face powder...
I can't believe it's not oshiroi.
I know. I know. The first lead-free face powder was sold in Japan in 1904. In the Taisho period, 1912 to 1926, when women were more commonly had their own jobs for the first time, as we talked about last episode,
right.
And their own money to spend, convenient and quick cosmetics began to be developed. So face powder started to be sold in a larger range of hues other than traditional white, and tube lipstick utilizing other colors and dyes became more prevalent and started to replace the customary safflower glazed rouge. Vanishing creams, emulsions, and cold creams also started to be sold. Starting in the 1950s, after World War II, Japan was greatly influenced by American mass media, especially films and magazines. In 1954, pancake makeup was brought over to Japan from the U.S. In the 1960s, the trend in makeup changed to focus on lipstick and eye makeup. And around 1975, trends such as the surfer look and heavy made-up eyebrows were especially popular among young women.
Huh.
So I'm not really sure what that means. Like, if that just
feathers.
Means... Yeah, like I want to have thicker eyebrows, so I'm going to use an eye pencil and make my eyebrows look like they're thicker than they are.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Like, I want a Brooke Shields
or
look.
just like shaping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Huh. A Brooke Shields look.
She was popular then. In Japan, one beauty standard that has been prevalent for hundreds of years and remains today is the ideal of having a white or light skin tone. An old saying mentioned that, quote, white skin makes up for 7 defects, end quote. Meaning that white skin can overshine the lack of other desired physical qualities. So it was considered an upper level sign of beauty, femininity, purity, and moral virtue.
I've got an assignment for you.
Okay.
I'd like you to bring me an old saying that doesn't make my skin crawl someday. It's either good wife, wise mother.
I know.
Or, white skin makes up for 7 defects.
I know.
Or just pile the Ainu bodies over there.
Whoa!
A lot of backward ideas. I'd like to know that some good came from ancient Japanese culture.
I know.
A lot of rough stuff.
It is. I agree with you.
We've come a long way, baby.
They have.
The Virginia Slim ads on the back of my Josei magazine.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I know. A lot of makeup ads in there.
With your single eyebrow that goes all the way around your head like a crown. Whatever it is you're doing with these eyebrows.
Oh my gosh, stop it. I don't think it's a single eyebrow thing. That's not a thing.
It's just like a circlet. Just settle it down over your brow.
Yeah, I don't think unibrows.
Or higher up, I forgot, yeah.
Right. A crown of unibrows. In modern day Japan, Japanese women can frequently be seen wearing long sleeves in the summer and carrying an umbrella to protect their skin from the sun. When I was in Japan in high school, it was during the summer, and summers in Japan tend to be really, really hot. And I remember my host family and I visited Tojaiji in Nara, which is one of the largest wooden structures in all of Japan, if not the largest. A very important temple. But anyways, my host mom was wearing long sleeves and carrying and using an umbrella, and it was not raining. And it was most likely to protect her skin. This is a fairly common sight in Japan. There are also a lot of varieties of sunscreen available and a rising popularity of UV protective clothing, which also illustrate the beauty standard of having a light, even skin tone. Preventative skincare is a large emphasis of Japanese beauty products. And the term bihaku, which means, quote, beautifully white, was coined in the early 1900s, and it is found on many skincare products, typically designating a product that nurtures a light and even skin tone and frequently includes ingredients that focus on preventing or alleviating age spots or hyperpigmentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a single ray of sun, and I just turn brown like toast.
I wear a lot of sunscreen. I have very pale skin, and I don't tan at all either. I just burn.
Yeah.
I burn right away.
That's why we have to live underground.
I know. Sometimes I get like sunspots, or not sunspots. What is it? Like, what is it called? Like when it's like, it like itches. It's like red and itches.
Rash.
Sun rash. I get that too. So yeah, I just try to avoid this.
Terrible superhero.
It's awful.
Oh, it's sun rash. Great. We're saved.
Today, Japan is one of the world's major markets for cosmetic products. In 2017, the Japanese beauty industry garnered over $36 billion domestically.
Wow.
Skincare items make up nearly 50% of products within the Japanese cosmetic market.
Yeah.
So it is huge. And there's honestly, there's more that I could say. Another thing that is really common in Japan is trying to make your eyes look bigger. So some people get cosmetic surgery, but there are also the ideal is to get like double eyelids. So you like have a fold in your upper eyelid, so it makes your eyes appear bigger.
Is it like a trick? Like
Yeah.
you're affecting the epicanthic fold,
yes,
but you're sort of like refolding it and leaving some, so you have sort of Asian eyes still, but they're bigger than they were before.
For the surgery, I didn't look into it a whole lot. Maybe, yes. I have seen some like Korean, I don't know if it's a different surgery over in Korea, but I have seen some Korean stars, like pop stars and stuff like that, who have gotten it. And
nearly any, I don't want to tell rumors outside of school, but nearly any, Asian film or TV star that you see has probably had, Jackie Chan had that done. Because he was getting into movies in the 70s, and it was just that was at the front door, when as you got into the industry, they're like, get the eyes done and move on. So
yeah, well, they have like all these other different things you can do if you don't want to get the surgery. Like they have like glues. Oh no! God. And you have like little. I saw pictures. God. There's like little plastic sticks that you get to stick your eyelids together to the glue. What? And there's like all these steps, and I'm like, this looks like so much work. I hope it's worth it. You know?
That's too bad.
Yeah. So
next week, foot binding.
Stop it. So that's cosmetics and standards of beauty in Japan.
Well, I'm sure that the European one would also be.
Oh, I'm sure.
Disconcerting.
Yeah.
And the American one would not be great either.
Mm-mm. I mean, think of all the tanning that we've done in America.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot.
It is interesting, though, just because of their isolation and their lack of industry for so long, the way that they refine these methods. And, I still, the teeth thing still gets me.
I know, but you read about teeth blackening, and it's something that other cultures do too. But I think it is largely to prevent tooth decay. And I wonder if I didn't look into it a whole lot, but I wonder if other cultures considered it beautiful as well.
They're like,
maybe
you have to. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you have
That's
to
the deal
because
that you make.
It's like, well, I am preserving my health. I am taking care of myself. I'm taking pride in myself. So it's beautiful.
I'm out there.
Yeah.
I'm smiling at everybody. I can take home the bacon.
I can fry it in a pan.
Eat it with my black teeth.
Yeah, and not get food like stuck in my teeth and like hurt my teeth. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Villain gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The droid, that's right, we're talking about droids, or droido, in this episode, is atsugeshou.
Not an apple, a droid.
A droid.
So I have questions, and I know you're probably going to answer them, but let me just scattershot here a little bit. So they're droids.
Yes.
I don't know if we talked, ironically, we talked on our recent episode of Animatification about droids or bio-droids in Japanese culture and their kind of word for it. Do they say droido or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's droido.
But they copied that from like Star Wars, right? As all of earthly culture did. That was out there.
That's a good question, probably. And this is Nako Takeuchi. This is in the manga, right? So they were droido in the manga, and I know it makes Star Wars was huge,
but it also makes a lot of sense. I mean, these are these bad guys are from the future, so it's going to be technology, and it's going to be robots, and so droids. It makes sense.
I think it makes sense. And you were talking about, before we get into her a whole lot, you were talking about how the way she kind of like crumbled and everything.
Yes.
And so
is it silicon?
Yeah, it kind of looks like silicon or like sand, and I think maybe they did it because they're very different from, so the droids in the manga are just kind of like, they're all the same. They're not like different fun monsters every time.
Okay.
And they're just kind of automatons. But when they died, they kind of became, it was like a similar thing happened. So I think that was kind of like maybe their way of connecting it back to the manga, or saying this is a similar thing.
Okay.
I think that's what's happening there. So Atsugeshou's name is a play on the word, it's going to sound very similar, atsugeshou. So her name is spelled Atsugeshou, and the word is Atsugeshou. So there's a U at the end, and there's 2 S's. Mm-hmm. Which, and atsugeshou, with the word that it refers to, means heavy makeup.
Really?
Yes. Which, of course, is super fitting since she works at a cosmetic store, forces makeup on people, and literally has to draw her face back on after she's been attacked.
Yes.
So, while this term is frequently utilized negatively to describe someone using too much makeup or putting it on too thickly, it also is utilized in a lot of theatrical fields, such as kabuki, ballet, period dramas, etc.
Sure.
So, it's maybe heavy makeup isn't necessarily the best translation. Maybe it's well, I guess it's heavy, but it's
they are happy clown cosmetics.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Maybe that's why they're clowns.
It's not like a droid turns into a clown, though.
No, she doesn't. Atsugeshou's character design, she has, of course, light green skin that is almost white as snow, bright green hair that comes down in the front but is pulled up in the back, bright green eyebrows, purple eyes, red lipstick, and a red rectangular jewel in the middle of her forehead with an upside-down black crescent moon on it. And I say upside down because it's pointing the other direction from Usagi's crescent.
Right.
And she is wearing, of course, a form-fitting sleeveless navy dress with asymmetrical color panels over her chest, lavender, light blue, and aqua, long navy gloves, green tights, navy pumps, long gold earrings, and a gold necklace with a circular charm on it. And perhaps the most impressively and appropriately, she has a gold perfume nozzle or atomizer as a hat, complete with an attached perfume puff or an atomizer pump. That's the technical term for that.
Yep.
So yeah, I just really love her design. So we're up to where we're rating her already. Unless you have other things you want to say.
No, I just was trying to think if there was some influence. We were talking about fashion influences,
yes,
and things like that before
for her outfit.
Yeah,
she kind of I was gonna say this is a good thing. It kind of looks like a design on a perfume bottle to me. I don't know if, as a guy, you've spent a lot of time looking at perfume bottles or not, but there's a wide variety, and they spend a lot of different times on the design of them, and some of them look really cool. And my mom, like growing up, my mom actually has a perfume bottle collection. And they're on her dresser, and I spent, I don't even know how many hours looking at them all, like smelling them, and like just being fascinated with them. So I that's what it reminds me of.
Crazy idea.
Yeah.
Crazy idea. Hear me out.
Yes.
It felt to me kind of like, and maybe we'll see this again later in the show, because I know we've got a lot of sort of looks coming. But
yes,
the up hair, and I know that the braid or the rope is
attached to the atomizer.
Yeah, is the tube for the bottle, but it does feel like kind of like a braid. The gloves, the bustier. Mm-hmm. It's got like a Madonna kind of vibe. Madonna,
maybe a little bit.
Circa Blonde Ambition,
mm-hmm.
where I believe her looks were all done by Jean-Paul Gaultier for that.
Oh, okay. You think that it's all designer?
Yeah, like maybe they can, or maybe they can, because it's Amazon anime, but couldn't go full cone bra, but still tried to get like the bustier idea.
Okay, I could see it. I mean, I think they definitely are like going for them being like high fashion, like everybody associated to the Black Moon Clan. So yeah, definitely.
Just thought.
Yeah, no. Should we try to? I don't know.
Is that our new tarot card? Failure.
I'm terrified because I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know, like, without looking something up, I wouldn't know, like, oh, yes, that's a Chanel. I don't know.
Well, Chanel is fairly distinctive.
Well, I guess certain things. But, I mean, if you think that you know enough about fashion,
well, maybe the two of us put together would be enough.
Okay. All right, that's something else to think about.
I know. I mean,
Droid
in most
fashion.
Yeah, I know. In most, most models and most fashion sketches, are very tall. But this is a very long, tall Sally of a droid.
Yeah, she's
and
very tall.
lot of Gautier's designs, specifically from the Blonde Ambition tour, are just like these stilt women, with these kind of classic, but yet like a modern touch kind of looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, she does kind of have a classic yet modern look. But I was wondering too, like, so it looks like she has green tights and like a light green skin. Or is it like the green is like the color, the dark green is the color of her skin.
Green
and
is
then
the color
and her
of
arms
skin.
and her neck and her face are just makeup.
Maybe, when her makeup is heavily put on.
Yes.
No, it's not really clear what happens because she's telling people she's going to put makeup on them, but it's really acid.
Right.
Which would remove your face
right,
ostensibly
exactly.
your makeup. And indeed, her entire face is removed by her own makeup. Mm-hmm. So maybe they didn't think too hard about it.
Probably not. So yeah, I really love her design, and honestly, the perfume bottle hat is part of the design that really sells it for me. It's so simple but clever, and her attacks are super effective and scary. I also like how she literally loses her face and has to draw it back on. So does that mean that like all of her facial features were makeup?
Why? She's a robot.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Maybe her her face unit was melted by the acid, but she could still operate.
Right. What a way to start the droids. Very strong. I'm going to give her 5 out of 5 dark stars.
Yeah, I think I got to give her 5 too.
Yeah.
We got to stop. I personally, I'm not going to put this on you. I have to stop rating droids or Yoma, I suppose, by how long they're around. If you're going to spend, and they do, 15 to 18 minutes conservatively on the love story and the characters' interactions in the show, you're going to have to jam that Yoma in at the end.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing double duty with having a villain like Berthier.
Yeah.
And then also her introducing her droid. So, she's got everything that I like. She's got a great design with a great gimmick inside of it. She basically, is trying to get her job done and almost succeeds.
Yeah.
And then also she's got a moment of humanity.
I know.
Even though she's a robot, where she finds herself very inconvenienced. And then also, it isn't so much about, because like you said, can she operate without a face? She's a robot. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, right.
But it's more important that she looks good when she dies. She's trying to, don't kill me yet. I've almost got my eyes on. It's just like this weird moment of strange humanity.
I know.
Which elevates her to, I think, a 5 in my book.
Yeah, exactly. It totally elevates her. Speaking of...
Stripper Elsa?
Yes. Is it Berthier or Berthier?
Berthier. Berthier.
It's French.
Yeah.
She's named after... We'll get to it. But she's named after a mineral, Berthierite, which is a sulfide of iron and antimony. It is a dark gray hue with a metallic sheen that can be covered in an iridescent oxidation. I can speak. Her name in Japanese is pronounced Beruche. Beruche's villain outfit, which is a light blue unitard with the deep diamond cut out in the middle of her chest, is inspired by another Thierry Mugler couture look from his autumn-winter couture show in 1992. This time it's a light blue sequin dress, form-fitting strapless, sleeveless dress with a similar-looking cutout, which also has long elbow-length gloves and a choker, just like Berthier.
Okay.
So now we're up to our rating. I love how cute Usako and Mamo-chan are with each other in the beginning of this episode. I love both how Papa and Mama Tsukino's reactions to Mamo-chan dating Usagi. I love that Usagi really yells at Atsugeshou for suggesting that Mamo-chan would like her more if she wore makeup. I also really enjoy our first droid. She was fantastic. I wish I had given last episode a 5. I really like this episode. The only thing I don't like about it is that they break up. But it gets me. Even though I hate it, it gets me. So I think I'm going to give this one 5 out of 5 roses.
There are so many, just in everything that you said, I realized that there are so many payoffs in this episode that are directly related to things that were planted before, things we know about the characters, established facts of the world. We're at that point now where it works because there's a world, and then it's established,
and we know this
and it
world
makes sense.
Yeah.
And so little work has to be done setting that stuff up. It was done before. Mm-hmm. And so therefore we get all kinds of payoffs to all kinds of things that gives this a richness that an earlier episode couldn't have, and should be judged for that reason. And like I just felt that weird feeling, like I said before, where for a character who never knows what's going on, and is often very verbal about not knowing what's going on, to have Usagi just in terms of her emotions, or in terms of how she fits in the story, being on the outside looking in, that was just like a really strange feeling to have, that I could only have due to my investment with the character,
right? And
her, ubiquitous presence in the world, and the way that the world, she matches the character of the world, or the world matches her. This is her world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now baby's in a corner.
I know.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I know. In a phone box.
Get that rabbit out of the corner.
I know.
So I just think maybe it's just, maybe I'm weighted, my interest is weighted because of my investment in it at this point, but it's, a cartoon kid show that has invested someone like me into it. So I got to give it 5 stars.
Yeah.
And roses.
Yeah. And roses.
We're not very good at our own rating system. So, like once again, it's like, I want people to know I wanted them to know that we double 5-starred this.
Yeah, so. Well, it's a good episode. And last episode was a good episode too. I'm.
You cannot get over it. You gotta walk on.
It's a 5.
You gotta get stronger.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
so you can, so you can rate something with 5 stars with confidence.
Yeah. Okay.
And Mamoru will come back to you.
Yeah. Right. So my English title for this episode is Usagi's Heartbreak. Bad decision, Mamo-chan.
Bad decision, Mamo. A little editorializing in the title there. I did like how the English title for this was like literally a newspaper headline.
I know.
Like sometimes I accuse yours of being like that, but it was like, "Look out, Usagi!
I know.
Mamoru says it's over."
I know.
It's a bad breakup. Mine's fairly simple. It's Breaking Sad.
Oh, no. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 62. Senshi no Yujo, Sayonara Ami-chan in Japanese. A Guardian's Friendship, Goodbye Ami, the English translation, and the English title, Sailor Mercury Moving On?
Goodbye Ami!
Yeah,
is she going to explode? Is this freezer going to blow her up?
She's hitching a ride on the Makai tree with the alien on. She's going back to her home planet.
Yeah, they're not out past Saturn yet, so... yeah, okay. Well, the title wasn't They Get Back Together, so we're going to let that one ride for a while, but yeah, it's about time for an Ami.
Mm-hmm. I think so. It's been a while.
As long as those psychic boys are involved.
Are you done with him?
Futo.
I don't remember what his
Tofu.
His you're thinking about what the Yoma was.
No, I'm
called.
Trying to remember his name.
His name was Ryo. It was Ryo. It's Ryo. I remember.
No, his Yoma was
it was like Boombo or something like that. Yeah, and he was like a dinosaur, like he looked like a Power Ranger bad guy that spit like office supplies.
He was an alligator scissor man.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. That could be good.
Yes.
We'll have to see. You'll have to see all the things that we have in store for you, listener, on our Patreon if you choose to go to patreon.com/Sailor Noob, where we've got a whole nother podcast in addition to outtakes from the show and special features, and you can join our conversation by becoming a member of the show. Become a /Sailor Noob. Joining up.
Yes. And we also have a Discord channel, which we can put that information about that in our notes.
It's always in the show notes.
It's always in the show notes. Excuse me. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with animetification. So,
yeah. When we talk about Dragon Ball Z.
Hey, look. Random.org picked that for us.
We had a good conversation about Dragon Ball Z.
We did.
But we also talk about more obscure anime.
We do.
On animetification. Mm-hmm. And so, fingers crossed we'll have one of those in the future.
Yeah, I think we will.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Let the French toast.